Welcome, everyone, to Dive Talk, episode number 24. For this episode, I was thinking about the things that have happened this year and goals and things we accomplished in spite of the whole COVID-19 pandemic and all of that, and all of the things that we should strive to accomplish in 2021. One of the things that I started last year was I became a member of this thing called the Strenuous Life, which is this group of men, essentially, that we get together and we do strenuous stuff, like challenges and tough things. And I know you do some other stuff, but you guys mainly climb, I think.
Oh, no, we do backcountry skiing. We do AT skiing, where we'll hike up ice cliffs and then ski down. We do climbing. It includes hardcore, like, outdoor adventures.
What is it that you did this weekend? Because I saw the pictures
This
of you
weekend
climbing.
was-
It looked sketchy.
Yeah, this was, it wasn't sketchy. It's Red Rocks Canyon climbing. That's where Alex Hummel, the guy who did
Free Solo.
he lives out there and climbs it all the time. But remember, the stuff that we're doing is very extreme, but with years of training.
For sure.
Like, to be able to climb what we climbed this past weekend that's after 7 years of training to be able to climb to that level.
For sure.
So, yes, we have a group of people that we do that with. We call it BAM, Body and Mind. And it's all these type of activities, and it's sort of like we push each other, as I'm sure your group does, right? Because when you're with each other. But I don't believe in pushing somebody outside of their bounds of training. That's the difference.
For sure.
Nothing we do. You would not be able to come on one of our trips unless you proved yourself around professionals that we bring that look at you, evaluate you, and say, you can do this.
Yeah, I think this one is a little bit differently. I think this one is more about learning skills that in some ways, you don't learn them. Like one of the outings that we did, we learned how to make fire without like matches and stuff like that, like out in the wild. Another one, I think they did, I don't know if it was, whether it was shooting or archery or whatever, like they do something differently every time, which is pretty cool. But one of the things that they've done at the Strenuous Life is they give away badges. So once you complete certain skills, you can apply, and some of them do require even video. You have to submit video proof, but you get a badge. And obviously there's people out there that are collecting these badges, which is a way to motivate themselves to learn new skills and accomplish things. But one of the things that I noticed is that even though there's dozens of badges out there, there's nothing for scuba diving, which I would love, because that will be the badge that I go for immediately. But there's not a badge for scuba diving. The closest one that I noticed on the site is one called the Frogman, which is pretty much how they call Navy SEALs. So I thought it was interesting that they picked Frogman, the Frogman badge. But I'll tell you the things that you have to accomplish in order to get this badge, and you tell me what you think. All right, so first, you need to be able to swim 50 feet with shoes and clothes on. All right, so that's
You
one
mean
thing.
on the surface?
Yeah, just
No, okay.
yeah. All right.
Easy.
Closed-toe shoes, so like full-on clothes. You have to be able to swim 50 feet.
No problem.
Not hard. Dive from the surface to 7 or 10 feet deep
Nothing.
and retrieve a weight of at least 10 pounds or more.
No problem. I mean, these are not hard yet.
Not hard yet, right? Take and pass the Navy SEAL underwater knot tying test. I don't know how hard that is, but sounds...
Depends on the knots, I guess.
Yeah, exactly. So
That
you have
could
to
be
practice.
tricky. Yeah,
you
you
have
gotta
to practice
for
yeah.
sure.
Throw a rope to someone in the water who's at least 30 feet out from you and pull them in.
Okay. Yeah.
So like rescue somebody.
Yeah, we do that kind of in the rescue class anyway.
Yep. Pull a person to shore by extending to them a pole, a branch, an oar, etc.
Mm-hmm.
Swim 200 yards using good form, broken down by, and then they broke it down by some other requirements in there. Demonstrate the ability to turn either, and by the way, the requirements are side stroke, backstroke. You have to show multiple strokes in there. Let's see. Demonstrate the ability to turn either your pants or your shirt into an improvised flotation device.
Mm-hmm.
Sounds interesting. Float as motionless as possible for 1 minute.
Yeah.
That's interesting. Enter the water in complete silence. Swim silently for 50 feet. Leave water in complete silence.
Underwater.
That's
Breath holding.
weird. Have a friend present to give you a pass or fail, or have a friend present to give you a pass or fail, which is interesting. I don't know. I guess they put a blindfold.
Honesty stuff. Okay.
I guess so. Tread water while holding a brick in the following sequence: 30 seconds both hands in the water with the brick, 30 seconds right hand out of the water with the brick, 30 seconds both hands in the water, and then 30 seconds left hand out of the water with the brick. So you have to tread water for 2 minutes and, with a brick. Tread water in close for 20 minutes with full on close. Swim for 25 feet underwater, taking a maximum of 2 breaths. Come on, that one is easy. With any stroke, swim 1 mile in a pool or half a mile in open water.
Okay.
And lastly, perform a simulator water rescue, which includes physically towing someone through from the water to safety.
Yeah.
So that's, part of the rescue. So that is, if you complete all of that, you get the Frogman badge.
Okay.
Which is pretty cool.
Kind of cool thing.
Yeah, it's kind of cool. And there's dozens again out there. But that made me think about if we were coming up with our scuba badge.
Which, by the way, I just want to let you know something. Not if, but I just thought about this. We are going to create a Dive Talk scuba badge. And I literally,
challenge
I'm on
everyone.
a lot of coffee right now, so that just hit my brain. Why not? Let's do it. Let's put one together.
We should.
Now, this show will just be suggestions on that, I know. So don't hold that as that's it.
So it
we'll
won't be
think
the
about
final
it further. Let's think
we
about
don't-
that a little bit further, but let's materialize that idea during this show.
I don't know if it's evident that we don't have a script for these shows.
Oh,
We're
this
just-
one, we are literally forming this idea as we speak, which is really, really cool. Are
Exactly.
you about to ask me what would
Well-
we consider some of the criteria to earn our Dive Talk scuba badge?
But that's the beauty of coming up with a badge, because it has to be challenging.
I love
number
it.
one.
I love it.
And we own it. We can put whatever
This
we want
is
in.
very awesome.
Yeah, because
Now I like it a lot.
because if you think about it, like the master diver, for example, which is the highest recreational level you can get to, you can accomplish that without ever diving in the sea, without ever diving at night, for example. You can just dive at a quarry
Right.
50 times, get some specialties, which include things like sea ecology or whatever specialties, I assume. I think the only one is the rescue, plus the first aid and
ours
whatnot.
is going to be the real deal.
For
when you
sure.
get our
But what I'm
badge,
saying is you
because
can
I'm
be-
already thinking of some things. It's going to be a badge that I want.
Exactly.
Okay, let's put it that way.
Yeah, exactly.
And we got to figure out how
All
we're
right.
going to present the badge and what the rules are, and do they have to take photos to document? I mean, we'll come up with all of this, everybody, because Gus and I are looking at each other right now like this is live. I don't know what we're going to do,
making
but
this happen.
we're making this happen. I love it.
All right, so let's come up with some challenges. Again, it has to be challenging. So what do you think? What should be like some of the things that...
All right. The first one
have to
that jumps out at me is I really do think you have to have at least, this is Woody's opinion, 50 ocean dives at least 100 feet in depth. Because you know what?
Wow.
When you do the deep dive certification and you go down 3 times to 100 feet and you do a few basic skills, that's not good enough. You know what? Let's lower that. How about if we put 25? 25 dives in the ocean to at least 100 feet. Now, that's giving you some real good experience in ocean diving and deep. I really think that's important. There's so many things that can go wrong that you have to be experienced to be able to handle when you're deep at least 100 feet.
For sure.
So it doesn't need to be 50. 50 is too many. I would say 25. And we may lower that because this is just off the top of my head.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. I think 25 is a good number, but it has to be open water for sure.
Ocean.
In the ocean, yes, that's what I meant. Because again, right now, I mean, you can literally become an instructor and never dive in the ocean, right?
Yeah,
It's number of dives.
Not for the Dive Talk badge.
Not for the dive talk, exactly. Okay, so that's good. So what else should we look at? So from my perspective, obviously you have to, you already added the deep diving in there. You have to be able to dive at night. Like you have to have the training and have some night dives completed. I don't know how many though, but it has to be no visibility for sure.
That's a very important one. So you and I are in agreement, as we usually are. Look, at least 10 night dives.
Yeah.
I mean, you've got to be, because what I love about this one, Gus, is that you've got to be able to know how to navigate at night. So it's really incorporating a lot of skills that I was going to add to our list later, which have to do with navigation. Night is a whole nother experience, and it's awesome. I'm going to add, though, that you have to do those night dives without a professional dive guide leading you, because that's easy. I'm talking about you and one other buddy did at least 10 night dives, and come on, it's got to be at least 30 feet or deeper. You can't do a 10-foot night dive. I think that's meaningful for the Dive Talk badge. Now I'm going to have some respect that you were able to get to and from somewhere on a night dive. I also think we got to put a time frame in there. Mm-hmm. Those dives have to be at least 30 minutes in length.
Okay.
So deeper than 30 feet, can't have a dive guide. Deeper than 30 feet, can't have a dive guide, and they got to be at least 30 minutes long.
Yeah. So
and 10 of them. That's meaningful. I would say, yeah, you know how to dive at night after that.
Would you put in a number of dive requirements? Like most
I'd
of
say
the
10.
No, but I'm talking about just general number of dives.
Oh, overall? Oh, yeah. You got to have 100 dives.
100 dives.
Yeah, I'm not giving
That's a
you the
good
Dive
number.
Talk badge without 100. I mean, right?
Right.
100's like,
I think so.
Okay. I've been around.
Yeah,
I've
exactly.
experienced different buddies, different environments, different boats, different configuration. Once you've done 100 dives.
Yeah, the way I think about the batch is like anything we throw at you, you should be able to dive and like, that maybe not be super comfortable because if we throw you in a cave, all right, are we going to...
Well, we haven't talked about whether or not cave. I don't think I would say no on cave.
No, yeah.
And the reason is I do not want to encourage anybody at all at the recreational level to earn our badge and attempt to do something that is outside of your training.
For sure.
Actually should have started the show with that. If you are not certified to do a deep dive to 100 feet, do not go for our badge. And as a matter of fact, for safety, I just thought of something else. If you did one of the check marks, like the 100-foot dive, and you did at least 50 of those, you also have to send us that you have the deep certification.
Right.
So you prove to us that you didn't do that without the training.
Right.
We cannot let people do something they're not trained for. I'm really glad
for sure.
we brought that up with cave. So cave is like a whole nother basket, and I don't think you and I are qualified to even have people think about doing cave. They need to do professional cave training with professional cave instructors, because there's like diving, and then cave is like it's an entirely different basket.
Like a different branch.
Do not do any cave diving at all and think that's any part of our badge.
For sure. And I think, that is the disclaimer, is if there are some skills or challenges that we're throwing out there and you're not certified to do them, you have to get certified and then do them.
And we will not give you the badge
in order to get the badge.
You got to show us that you're certified in that.
For sure. The other one is, all right. So caves are out of the picture, but
no way.
I do think you need to at least have some swim through experience, which you can do even as an open water diver. Some swim through, because you have to, in order to have this badge, you have to be able to get into situations where you can't just come up, but not panic. Like be able to swim
throughs are different than for example, let's talk about swim throughs and let's use a wreck if we could, okay? Because we're guys, this is live. We're thinking of this. You're hearing the conversation that Gus and I would have if we were creating this behind the scenes. So let's do this, Gus and audience. If you were in a wreck, there's a difference, as you know, between a swim through and a penetration. Two different things. A penetration could be a cave, right? One way in, one way out, and you could get out of the light zone. I do not want that to be part of our qualification.
No.
Because, again, that's cave. A swim through is an overhead environment, but you don't have to come back out through your entrance. Now, the question for you and I is, how far, how many linear distance do we want for the dive talk swim through? A lot of agencies will limit that to like 30 feet or something of that
20 feet,
nature.
something like that. Yeah.
Maybe 30 feet, at least a swim through of 30 feet in length, I would say.
That would. Yeah, that sounds good.
Right? Of some form. There's swim throughs that are underneath reefs that are really cool. It doesn't have to be a wreck, like a little tunnel, but you can see the light the whole time. You're never out of the light zone.
For sure.
That's a swim through.
Yeah, I just it has to be. Again, if you're doing a dive and you're at a wreck and you encounter that you can swim through in these 20 feet or whatever from like at a deck or whatever you're going through.
So how many swim throughs do they have to do for the dive talk badge? We haven't named yet. I don't know what it's going to be called.
I don't know either, but I just feel like you have to be comfortable doing that. So I don't know. Somebody can do one or two and be like, okay, that was awesome.
Well, they got to be comfortable because really the skill that you're adding, I think, is what you're saying is, boy, trim and buoyancy are pretty important to swim through.
Correct.
Right? You just can't be crushing the environment that you're swimming through. You got to be neutral to get through that. So I like this skill. 10.
Yeah, that would be good.
10 swim throughs to get our badge?
I think so. And speaking of buoyancy, another skill, and I don't know how to put this one, so we just have to figure this out.
Are we going to remember these, or we're going to have to listen back to the show?
we're gonna write them up.
All right.
I think that another skill is, in terms of buoyancy, is they have to complete a skill, and I'm trying to think what it is. Maybe the ability to shoot an SMB from depth. Maybe not super deep, but without messing your buoyancy by a lot. Like if you can fire an SMB, but you go 30 feet up, while you're firing it, you probably failed that skill. Like you have to be able to do something.
That's a very good one.
Yeah.
And it's not good just because, wow, it's hard. It's a life-saving skill to be able to properly fire an SMB from depth in an ocean when you're drift diving. It is a life-saving skill. I mean, I grew up in Florida. You have to carry an SMB and a reel when you're drift diving in South Florida, Fort Lauderdale, West Palm, Jupiter. You have to. Mm-hmm. So now we got to put some parameters around it. I think there's a big difference between firing an SMB at 20 feet on your safety stop versus 50 feet or below. That's a lot of reeling that you have to do and a lot of line control so you don't tangle yourself and other people. So I'm going to add you have to fire the SMB from at least 50 feet.
Yikes. Nice.
Because that's real now, right?
Love it.
Now you know how to handle a reel. You're not tangling up yourself and everybody else. And if you were on a drift dive, it's realistic that you would have to be able to fire that from that depth. The question now becomes how many of those? 50 feet at least, you're firing an SMB. How many times? Because it's going to take people a while to earn these badges.
Well, it's not at least to me, it's not a matter of how many times. It's a matter of can you do it? Like if you can maybe it takes you 10 attempts.
Is 5 good? If you did it 5 times, I mean, it seems like
you for sure have it by
I think 5 is a pretty good number on that one.
Yeah.
All right, 5 SMB firings from 50 feet or below.
You're able to do that.
Very, very, very good.
Make sure you have enough line on your spool.
Line, proper SMB.
Because some people just have like 30 feet, right? 10 meters of line. You need to be prepared for that.
Okay, that's a very, very good skill. I like that one a lot.
Yeah, so that's one. I think you need to be able to dive in any temperature. So you need to be able to dive with a dry suit. To me, again, I'm not encouraging anyone to just buy a dry suit and try it. You need to get certified and all of that.
I gotta think about that. So
it's a challenge.
But if you're not, if you want to be able to dive in any temperature,
yes,
that doesn't necessarily mean you're in a dry suit. Well, I guess in any temperature, yeah. I mean, if you're diving underneath the ice, I don't think you could survive in anything other than a dry suit.
For sure.
So that's a big one. Or that's going to eliminate a lot of people. A lot of people are not dry suit certified, but hey, I think that's pretty valid because a dry suit isn't just for temperature, man. Your entire diving is different.
Correct.
The way you control buoyancy, the way you deal with where that air bubble is inside that dry suit, it could be in the wrong place at the wrong time, is a real big skill.
Yep.
It's a really big skill. I love diving in a dry suit, by the way. I kind of wish I only for the rest of my life was diving in a dry suit.
Yep, for sure.
Well, how many?
I just think you need to be
How
able
many
to.
dry
No, you need to be able to.
So that you're dry suit certified, period.
Dry suit certified. Can you dive in any temperature?
So you're
Anyone.
dry suit. So you have a dry suit certification.
For sure.
And that's it. That's all for that requirement.
Yeah,
I like
yeah.
that. Okay.
Yeah, you can
All right,
dive
so you're
in
dry suit
any
certified.
temperature. And I think that we should have, and this is a challenge, for people, but I think you should have at least one or two really deep dives with something other than air. Like something to, I don't know, 50 meters, 60 meters, something like that, 150 feet. And
So
that's going to
but
take
now you're
someone.
a tech, but now you've just eliminated all recreational divers.
Well, that's going to, do you want the batch or not? Like I'm just saying.
Okay, I'm just saying. That's fine.
Yeah.
Our badge is a pretty serious badge. So, in order to dive, frankly, below, I would say anything below 130 feet, you have to be on a mixed gas. You've got to add helium.
Yeah, and I know a lot of people listening to this will be like, I know someone who went to 200 on air or whatever. No, we're not encouraging anyone to try that. The idea is that you learn the skills to be able to plan a deep dive with a mixed gas that includes helium.
Then are we going to require them to have a mixed gas certification to earn the 150 foot for safety reasons?
I think so.
I would. You say you can't get the 150 mark without also sending us now your certification.
Yeah, I don't want it to be dangerous like, I'm just going to
Can't
go
do
to
that.
150 on air just to get the badge.
No way.
No.
It
wouldn't count. It would
so
be
you
a
got to
waste.
have a certification. How many dives to 150 or below? It's hard, it's hard to get deep dives in of that nature.
For sure.
Getting helium is harder and harder. 3.
Yeah, 3 sounds like a good
It's
number.
reasonable for that. It's just
Boats don't go that deep.
It's
like,
just hard
it's
to get
hard.
that. You got to be in a special situation. So, 3 dives to 150 feet or deeper,
Yeah,
and you
50
are
meters.
certified to do that, which is going to basically require you to have a mixed gas certification of some sort.
Yeah.
All right.
A tech
Okay.
diver. I don't know what else.
This is a real deal. This is
a tough one.
This is an all around diver.
I'm trying to think of something I don't have, so I have to work for the badge. I don't want to name just all the stuff I can do. It just sounds like I think you need to I don't even know what to throw. Like ice diver, I'm not an ice diver. I'm just trying
I'm
to.
about to get that one. That's one of the only ones I don't have. No, I don't know about that
think.
one. The other ones are, we know what some of the most important classes are. We already talked about that show. We love navigation. It's very important to be able to navigate. So is there anything in the navigation realm? Is like, could we say you had to do a 5 or 6 point navigation pattern underwater, which is one of the requirements in a lot of the navigation classes, a certain amount of times. Like you were able to go to a point, find an object. At that object, there's a sign telling you to re-navigate to another spot. That's a pretty cool indication that you know how to use your underwater compass, digital or
that would be
magnetic.
good. And that also reminded me of, something that I don't have, like be able to lift a heavy object with a lift bag.
Yeah,
Something
fun.
that is 100
Great
pounds
class.
or something.
Love that class.
Yeah, I haven't done that.
I'm a lift bag and I'm an instructor. I'm a search. It's a search and recovery
Search
is
and
the
recovery,
class.
yeah.
I'm an instructor, so you'll love it.
Yeah.
Because you're navigating to find it, and then safely lifting it. There's a lot of planning that goes into that. Super fun.
Didn't you go get like a pipe or something? You were telling
Many
me?
things. I've done anchors, lifting up. It's just something about using a lift bag to lift stuff. No, I used the pipe. That was a jack stay that I ended up finding because we were doing a rescue class to find the missing diver in Lake Lanier, and it was so bad. I'm like, hey, I got an idea. Look at that long PVC pipe. Make it a jack stay. Different, little bit of a different use. Okay. You have to be able to prove to us that you've navigated a 5-point or more course underwater. I don't know how many times.
No, can you complete it, right? It's like a
No,
navigation
okay. So
course.
that's it. You did it. You navigated at least once a 5-point course of some sort underwater.
Yeah.
So that's a good one. That's a valid navigation
Yeah.
one.
Again, I'm just trying to think of things that I can do that I
mean,
want to
using
learn.
using a lift bag is a really tricky skill. So that's a good one. I don't think you should lay off that one. That's a good one.
Yeah, be able to lift an object. I don't know, 100. I don't know what's a good. Wait for it. That's one thing I don't know what to do.
Well, then, do they just need to show us that they're search and recovery or the equivalent certified?
Well, I don't want to make it so it's a certification thing. I also want to do accomplishments like the SMB stuff and not messing your buoyancy. That there's no certification for that, but you need to be able to do that. So I'm just trying to think of what else is out there.
I just don't want them. I don't want them doing lift bags without a certification.
Oh, I have
lifting
one.
objects. That's
need to
training.
Here's another one.
All right,
you need to be able to do helicopter kicks and backwards kicks.
That's fine.
You have
Those
to learn
are valid.
that skill.
So you got to be able to do backwards frog kicks.
Yes.
And helicopter turns without using your hands. So you can look those up on the internet.
For sure.
Those are very important, buoyancy control skills, and very handy as well. So at least 2 helicopter turns, so you're 2 360s.
Yeah.
Cannot use your hands. And you must maintain depth while you're doing those. You can't be flying up. I would say those all have to be done within 5 feet. You didn't go up by more than 2.5 or down by more. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Okay, so 2 360 turns, can't lose more than 5 feet of buoyancy in either direction, maybe.
That's cool.
And the back frog kicks, how far backwards do they have to go? How many feet?
I don't know. I would
10?
say 10 feet is
10
fine.
feet's good.
Yeah.
Those are great.
3
Great
meters,
skills. Yeah. Okay.
What else?
All right. Our badge is serious.
It's getting serious. Yeah. I don't know if we should add.
How about we haven't done anything with like the ability to identify marine life.
That's what I was thinking.
Right?
Fish ID. I'm just not sure, which ones or what. Like at least multiple species, right? Like identify 5 species of fish or whatever. I'm just trying to think. Because that will be another one that, will be challenging for a lot of people, even expert divers, be able to do that.
I'm trying to figure out how would we.
And we don't have to figure out now. We were gonna publish this batch somewhere, for people to see it. But I'm just trying to think what else. What do you have that you can do? Is there anything that besides ice diving that you're like?
I'm about to get that one, ice diving. So that's, I mean, in the cave world, I'm not a cave explorer. I don't know how to do like the mapping of caves and all that. But I don't want to get into caves.
No,
that's a whole nother level. I don't have that certification.
We should come up with a cave diving batch just for cave divers. Like you have to go to Woody's room at Peacock. You have to.
Yeah, it's tough.
You
better have a side mount rebreather.
Yeah.
You know what? I'll tell you something I don't have. I just thought of it. Something in the maintenance arena, in the gear maintenance arena, like equipment certified of some sort.
Yeah.
You're
how to VIP
you're a
your own
regulator.
tanks.
You're a regulator maintenance person, or you can VIP a tank or something of that.
You are a technician on the rebreather, right?
I'm a rebreather technician, and I'm a gas blender, but I'm not a qualified technician to service your regulator. I can't open it up and service it. I don't have that.
I like it that I went to the shop to fill up O2 yesterday, Sea Ventures, and I was like, okay, can you just show me how to do it? I'll keep an eye on it. It's like, well, do you have a gas blender card?
Right.
And I'm like,
you gotta have that.
I left it at Amigos, I guess.
Oh yeah. Well, that's different, Amigos. Yeah. Yeah. You gotta be a gas blender at most dive shops to
No, they did it, and it was great, but it was
to
just
mix
not
anything
used to
above
it.
40% or greater O2, you got to be a gas blender.
Yeah.
Or well, that's not true. Nitrox in general, you got to be a gas blender.
Yeah, for sure.
Um,
No, that
that
was
one I
great.
have. That is nice. That's a good class actually.
What else?
We've said some really hard ones. I'm running out of things to think about. You've said all the kicks, the hardest of the kicks for sure.
What are some things that were hard to master? I'm just trying to think, like when, like just as a master diver or whatever. Like I'm just trying to think what else is out there. I think drift dives should be included. You have to have experienced drift diving,
Right.
and that happens all over the world. So whoever's listening can do that.
Okay. Got to have
Um,
drift dives. That's fine. That's not that hard to. Frankly, I think they're pretty relaxing and mellow.
They're
I
awesome.
prefer to drift dive. I mean, jump into Cozumel and just drift
Oh,
away. We may get some
best.
suggestions too out there, by the way. Some of the listeners may say, I would add this one. You didn't think of this or that to get this Dive Talk badge of honor.
Exactly. Do you have to
And
be a rescue diver to get the badge?
yeah, I think so. I mean, that's really important.
Yeah.
You got to be at least a rescue diver. Yeah, that's very, very important. Okay, we've added
That's
that
true.
one.
All right, so we have deep diving, night, rescue,
We'll have to go back and listen to all the things we said.
navigation. Yeah. Super deep.
Skills, we said
Yeah,
certain
super deep.
skills.
I'm
We
trying
said
to think.
very deep.
Yeah, I'm trying to think what else. I think you should be able to guide a group. Do you think, or is that too much? Like dive guiding, like plan a dive because we do. I've done this before. Like before I was a dive guide, like 6 of us or 8 of us would meet to dive somewhere. And okay, what are we doing? Come up with a plan. Follow me, and
So
we
you have
just
to
go.
prove that you were the leader.
Well, do it. Like, and again, I'm not sure. Some of this is gonna be based on the honor system. Like, we can't
Right.
confirm that you guided 5 people or whatever or 6. So some of it is gonna have to be based on honor. But I just wonder if it's worth doing that. Yeah.
Yeah.
The main thing for me is you need to be able to dive in any scenario. So we thought about deep diving, we thought about night, we thought about cold water, warm water, whatever. Be able to fire an SMB. I'm just trying to think what else it's out there.
Yeah. I mean, I'm running out because
How about swimming underwater? What's a good distance that you have to be able to do? Make it a challenge, but also not impossible.
most people can do 30 feet pretty easily.
Okay, so it has to be a challenge.
40 feet.
Could be.
I mean,
Yeah.
just throwing it out there. We could think about that, but at least 40 feet underwater.
40 feet underwater, which is 12 meters or so for everyone outside of the U.S. So yeah, that would be good. 40 or 50, but it has to be challenging. Obviously, something that you can accomplish, but challenging. What about swim wise? Should we consider any swimming or? Because we do swim tests for dive guide, for instructor, for dive master, for essentially every level. I mean, we have to do a swim test for open water. There's swim tests everywhere. I just don't know if it should be part of the badge. But what we're trying to do is make complete divers. The other thing is, and I don't know if what you think about this, but should you be able to explain how you would use dive tables? Like, is that a thing, a
No.
skill?
Nope.
No? Okay.
Nope. Don't like that one. I don't think it's something I don't even
Relevant.
want to encourage. So
Okay.
yeah, no,
Um,
I don't need to do that one in my opinion. I don't think that's. I don't know. I kind of feel pretty good about what we have. That's why I'm stumped because if they could do all of those things, that's a
what
That's
about
a-
length?
really good diver right there.
How about dive length? Should we make it so you at least have to have over an hour, like several dives that were more than an hour? So if you're sucking through your tank in 20 minutes, you have to learn how to control that.
Good one.
Right?
Dive length is a good one.
Yeah, 1 hour dives.
At least 1 hour or more.
Yeah.
I would say you have to have at least 10.
Yeah, because I think that most divers, are around the 45-minute mark. Like that is how much they last, 40, 45 minutes or whatever. So you start going over an hour pretty consistently as you get used to breathing and learning your pattern and all of that.
Okay.
So 10 1-hour dives under your belt.
Okay. I like
That's
that one.
good. And I think that's it.
I think that's pretty good, right? Because we can go back and review this later, and if there's anything else we want to add or anybody out there thought of something else, let us know. But this is a good all-around diver. That person that we just talked about can do just about anything.
Yeah, for sure. And we want to encourage people again to, if you hear this list and you're like, I can already do all this stuff, then think about what your batch would be. Like perhaps learning how to getting certified and, becoming a cave diver might be what's on your list. Maybe learning how to dive under ice, or perhaps ecology stuff. Like whatever it is, your batch. Like we're encouraging people to gain more skills in 2021. I mean, 2020 was pretty crappy. A lot of classes were canceled, and people, like we have friends that haven't dove at all on the rebreather since last year, which I would be suicidal. It's
brutal
right now, I think.
So then we'll also have to think of the badge and what we'll send you and what you have to send us to prove. We got to put some rules around this, and we'll do that. We'll tighten this up right now. This is just a general theme, and then we'll put some rules around it. And this would be a really cool badge to earn.
For sure.
Okay.
So yeah, that's it. I hope we'll see you guys in a couple weeks. Getting close to the end of the year, and looking forward to hearing your suggestions for our dive talk, complete diver, badass diver,
or whatever
I don't know how
we'll call it. We'll call it something.
BAD, badass diver. I think the bad batch. No.
Nah, I don't know. I don't know about that.
Just brainstorming, but yeah, that's it. Anyway, if you have any suggestions, info@divetalkmedia.com is our website. We also have Twitter @divetalkmedia. If you have any suggestions, let us know. But other than that, anything else to add?
That's it. I think I'm looking forward to. We'll put some rules together over the next week or so about this, and then we'll get those posted.
Sounds good. Safe diving, guys.
Bye, everyone.